Alright, so in the last video, we went in here and we basically forced our players to roll the dice on their first turn. Okay? Pretty simple stuff, but they have to roll before we can move on. And you've seen that because if they didn't hit a lowercase or an uppercase R, it basically kept prompting them. But once they did, then it came out and said all is good, which lets you know that we can move on with our code as long as they hit an R or an R. All right, so once they do that, what we want to do is roll the dice. So first of all, we need to get a couple of ints up here. One die 1 and one die 2. All right. So that's going to hold the value of our dice. All right, and it's going to be 1 to 6. So now we can come out here and we can set die 1, well, 2. And what are we going to set it to? Well, we don't want a scanner, okay? We want some type of random number, all right? That's what we want it to equal, and it's got to be between 1 and 6. So let's go ahead and create another variable. And this too is something from the java.util library called random. Alright, and that's going to look like this. And the reason I put it down here rather than up at the top is because we don't really need it up at the top. We need it within here. Alright, not that it's a really big deal, but you don't really want to declare variables where they're not needed because it wastes space. Alright, so we'll set die 1 to rand dot next int. Remember that scanner thing? So it's kind of like that. But if you go into random, you'll see the same thing, but it's dot next int. And then, of course, open close parentheses, and then a semicolon. Now this right here is going to generate a number, and we're going to basically go in here and see these numbers. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and basically paste it down and call the second one die 2. Just like this. And you got to remember to keep them separate, because if you keep them both die 1, it's going to generate one number, then it's going to generate another number and store it to die 1. Alright, and let me get a space down here and we'll do a couple of system printouts here. And we'll say die 1 has a value of. Alright, so what I did down here is die 1 has a value of, and then whatever the number gets generated, and die 2 has a value of, and once again, whatever number gets generated. Another thing to keep in mind, if you need multiple random numbers, just like with the scanner, you don't have to create multiple random generators. You just keep using rand. Alright, it's going to generate numbers for you. Now this one, it's going to be probably kind of high because I haven't set any stipulations on it yet. So we're going to go ahead and run this, and before where it said all is good, now it should give me a couple of values. Alright, so don't forget you have to declare them, get your random number generator, then set die 1 to your random number generator, whatever you called it. I called mine rand, you can call it R, whatever makes sense to you. And then dot next int. Same thing with die 2, and it'll generate two different numbers. So we'll see what it generates on this one before we set some stipulations on it. But of course, we got to run through our program. So we'll do 2, 2, And then we'll do, let's see, Alana and Jana. So Alana and Jana. All right, Alana, it's your turn. Okay, we already know if I don't hit an R, it's going to loop us through. So we're just going to do what it's telling us to do. And it should roll the dice. And of course, it's going to generate some pretty high numbers probably. Oh, look at that. Die 1 has a value of negative whatever, and die 2 has a value of something huge. All right, so now it's Jana's turn. Let's roll. And as you can see, it can generate any number, even negative numbers. All right, so we're going to put a stipulation on that. And as you can see, that's the end of the turn. It doesn't come back around because we haven't told it to yet. So what I want to do is I want to do 6. Because I want 6 numbers. Dice has 6 sides, so I want 6 numbers. So let me go ahead and run this again. And one of the issues, if we go back up here, do you remember when I said we're counting from 0? So we had to add 1. Now one of the issues that we're probably going to have right here, and I shouldn't say probably, one of the issues we're going to have is it's never going to give us a 6. And we're going to get some zeros in there. So it'll probably be 0 to 5. So let me go ahead and run this. And we say 2. And 2. We'll go Brianna. And Jensen. All right. Now, I'm only getting 1 roll. I'm not getting to roll every time because we don't have it in the loop yet. All right, so we'll see what it generates. Okay, your current score is 0, and we're going to roll the dice. Okay, here we go. Look, see, there you go. Got a 5 and a 0, and then it went to Jensen. And we'll roll, and a 1 and a 1. Okay, so we know we're getting a 0 and we don't want zeros. So what you're going to have to do is just like before, you're going to do +1 on both of these. All right, just like that. And then we'll rerun this. All right, Cherish and Selena. And get ready to roll the dice. And here we go. R. So 1 and a 6. That's good. So we got a 6 this time and a 1. And we'll roll again in a 4 and 2. Okay, and that's the end of that roll. Once again, like I say, this is just generating numbers. Now what we want to do is we want to put this in a loop so that we can keep coming around and rolling. All right, but we need to roll on that first one. So that's one of the reasons that we did that. And we basically showed you. All right, but we will put this in a for loop in our next video. And then we'll start looping through the turn so that we can roll the dice multiple times if we don't hit a 1, snake eyes, or hit an H to hold our score. All right, so thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.